various size and shapes. But the basic function of any capacitor is to store the electrical energy. So now in this video, let us understand how does this capacitor works and how the energy is stored across this capacitor. Now this capacitor consists of two conducting plates which are separated by a dielectric material. Now this dielectric material is the insulating material and it opposes the flow of current. So now let us understand when we apply the voltage to this capacitor, then how the energy is stored across this capacitor. Now before the application of voltage, the two conducting plates of this capacitor are electrically neutral. It means that it has an equal amount of positive as well as the negative charge. But once the voltage is applied to this capacitor, then from the top plate, the electrons or the negative charge is attracted towards the positive terminal of this battery. And through the negative terminal of the battery, the electrons are pushed towards the bottom plate of this capacitor. Now because of the dielectric material between the two plates, the electrons which are collected at the bottom plate of this capacitor are not able to cross this barrier. And because of that, you will observe that over the period of time, the electrons will get accumulated at the bottom plate of this capacitor. So over the period of time, the top plate will have a shortage of electrons while the bottom plate will have a excessive electrons. Or we can say that the top plate will get positively charged while the bottom plate will get negatively charged. And because of the charged particles, the potential difference will get developed across the two plates. Now the building of charges across the two plates will continue till the point the potential difference that is developed across the two plates is equal to the supplied voltage. Now because of this potential difference, the electric field will get developed across the two plates, and this developed electric field is directly proportional to the potential difference and it is inversely proportional to the distance between the two plates. So smaller the distance between the two plates, the stronger will be the electric field. So in this way, when we apply the voltage to the capacitor, then the charges are developed across the two plates of this capacitor, and because of the development of the charge, the electric field is developed between the two plates. So in this way, the capacitor stores the energy in form of this electric field. Now even if we remove this voltage source, then also the charges that is developed across the two plates will remain as it is. So unless we apply the conductive part to this capacitor, the charges that is developed across the two plates will remain as it is. So as you can see over here, the conductive path is connected between the two terminals of this capacitor and the load in the form of bulb is connected to this conductive path. So now whenever we turn on this switch, at that time the electrons from the bottom plate will get attracted towards the top plate, and in this way you will see the transfer of charge or flow of current through this conductive path. So now because of flow of current, you will see that the bulb will glow, and in this way the current will flow through this conductive path, and this procedure will continue till both the plates will become electrically neutral. So over the period of time, you will observe that both plates will become electrically neutral and there will not be any flow of electrons through this conductive path, and because of that the bulb will again turned off. So in this way the charge that was developed across the capacitor has been discharged through this conductive path, and this phenomenon can be known as the discharging of this capacitor. Now the ability of the capacitor to store the charge is known as the capacitance, and it is represented as the charge that is developed across the capacitor per unit voltage, and generally it is denoted by the unit of Faraday. Now this Faraday is very big unit and usually it is not used to define the capacitance. Rather very small units like millifarad, microfarad and picofarads are used to define the capacitance. So now for the given capacitance, if you want to store the more charge across the capacitor, then you need to apply the more voltage across that capacitor. Or for the given voltage, suppose if you want to store the more charge across the capacitor, then you need to select the capacitor in a such a way that it has a large capacitance. So as you can see over here, by changing the applied voltage, we can change the amount of charge that is stored across the capacitor. But here we cannot increase the voltage indefinitely. So for every capacitor, you will find that the maximum voltage rating has been defined. So the voltage that is applied across the capacitor should be less than that maximum rating. So if the applied voltage is greater than the maximum rated voltage, in that case you will see the dielectric breakdown in the capacitor. So now let us see the factors which affects the capacitance of this capacitor. So there are three factors which affects the capacitance of this capacitor. The first is the area of the plates. Then the second factor is the distance between the two plates of this capacitor. And the third factor is the permittivity of the dielectric material. And the relation between three can be given by this expression, that is C is equal to epsilon A by D. So as you can see over here, the capacitance of this capacitor is directly proportional to the area of the plates as well as the permittivity of this dielectric material, and it is inversely proportional to the distance between the plates. So now let us see how these factors can affect the capacitance of this capacitor. So the first factor is the area of these plates. So as the area of this plate increases, the amount of charge that can be stored across the plates will also increase, and in a way we can say that the capacitance of the capacitor will increase. Now the second factor which affects the capacitance is the distance between the two plates. So now as the distance between the two plates reduces, the electric field that is developed across the two plates will also increase, because it is inversely proportional to the electric field. And as this electric field increases, the charge that can be stored across the capacitor will also increase. So the third factor which affects the capacitance is the permittivity of the dielectric material. Now this permittivity can be defined as the product of absolute permittivity and the relative permittivity, where this relative permittivity is also known as the dielectric constant of the material. So because of this dielectric material, the capacitance of the capacitor will increase. So now let us understand how this dielectric material affects the capacitance of the capacitor. Now like I said before, this dielectric material is the insulating material, so it will not allow the flow of current. But this dielectric material has a polar molecules. It means that whenever there is a no electric field, in that case these molecules are aligned randomly. But whenever the external electric field is applied, in that case these molecules align themselves according to the electric field. So at the top edge of the dielectric material, if you see, you will find the negative charges, while at the bottom end of this dielectric material you will find the positive charges. Now these charges develops its own electric field which opposes the electric field that is generated by the capacitor. So because of this dielectric material, the effective electric field of the capacitor will reduce, and in a way we can say that the potential difference that is generated across the two plates will also reduce, provided the charges that is developed across the two plates are constant. So in that case, to increase the potential, we require the more amount of charge across the two plates. So in a way we can say that because of the introduction of this dielectric material, the capacitor can store more amount of charge, or we can say that the capacitance of the capacitor will increase. So these are the three factors which affects the capacitance of this capacitor. So I hope in
So I think you understand how the capacitor is charged and how capacitor is discharged. Okay. So let's start this practical. So in the lecture, in the third chapter, electrostatic, we have studied this topic, charging and discharging of the capacitor. Okay. All of you have seen this presentation? बताना देखा है ये?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as you can see here in the circuit, we have supply voltage in series with connect switch, resistor and capacitor. Now we first perform the charging of the capacitor. So we first connect the switch, or we make the switch on. So what will happen? The current is flowing in the circuit and your capacitor is charged. Here we assume that initially your capacitor is discharged. It means there is no charge on the plate of the capacitor. Clear? So what will happen? Initially maximum current is flowing through this circuit, and the value of this current I is equal to what? Supply voltage divided by resistance, because there is no voltage across capacitor. So whole supply voltage at t is equal to 0 directly come across the resistance. So initially maximum amount of current is flowing, that we called as Im, and the value of this Im is equal to supply voltage Vs divided by resistance. Okay. So when you turn on the switch, the charging of the capacitor starts, and at that time it's continuously charging as time is going on, and after some time a capacitor is fully charged. So we can say that your capacitor is fully charged when your supply voltage and voltage across the capacitor that become same. Suppose here you provide the 5-volt supply, Vs is equal to 5, and capacitor charge up to the 5 volt, then we can say that your capacitor is completely charged. So as I already told you that initially the value of current flowing through the circuit, that is maximum, and that is V by R, or you can say that Vs by R, supply voltage divided by resistance. Then as the charging happens, this charging current is gradually decreases from its maximum value. Why? Because capacitor is charged, so voltage across the capacitor is built up. So as the voltage across capacitor is built up, the potential difference between supply voltage and voltage across the capacitor, that is decreases. Clear? Because you can see that here supply voltage is Vs. Initially voltage across capacitor is 0. So there is a maximum potential difference across these two terminals, and because of that maximum current is flowing. I is equal to Vs by R. But once your capacitor starts charging, so voltage across the capacitor is built up. So what will happen? The potential difference between these two terminals means Vs minus Vc, that is decreasing. As the potential difference is decreasing, the current flowing into this circuit, that is also decreasing. So that's why here this sentence is written that as the charging current is gradually decreases from its maximum value till it finally becomes 0 when potential difference across the capacitor plates becomes equal and opposite to the supply voltage. It means when capacitor is fully charged, same as the supply voltage magnitude, there is no potential difference across two sides, so there is no current is flowing through the circuit and current becomes 0. So if you draw the graph of current versus time during this charging process of the capacitor, initially your current is maximum, and after that as time goes on, the exponentially current flowing through this circuit is decreases and finally becomes 0 when voltage across the capacitor becomes equal to the supply voltage. Clear? So this is a charging process of this capacitor. Now we have already derived the equation, mathematical equation of voltage across the capacitor. So for that we have considered the instant at t. Suppose that voltage across the capacitor is Vc. So here you can see that Vc is the potential difference across the capacitor at any time instant during the charging. I is the charging current and Q is the charge on the capacitor at any interval. Then according to the KVL, Kirchhoff's second law, means KVL, as you know that supply voltage is equal to potential difference across R and potential difference across C, because you can see that in the circuit we have only resistance and capacitor. So supply voltage is equal to voltage drop across these two elements, means voltage across R and voltage across C. So Vs is equal to, as per the KCL, applied voltage is equal to potential difference across R plus potential difference across C. So what is the potential difference across R? That is I into R. Clear? So put this value here. V is the supply voltage is equal to voltage drop across R is IR, and Vc is the voltage across the capacitor. So as we know that value of current flowing through this circuit is I. I is, we know that dq by dt, rate of change of charge with respect to time, and we replace the value of Q by C into Vc. C is the constant, so differentiation of dVc by dt. So I is equal to C dVc by dt, replace here in this equation. So C dVc by dt into R plus Vc. Yes. And rearrange this term, first term Vc plus Rc into dVc by dt. Now left hand side there is a V, right hand side this is Vc. So subtract Vc from V. So equation becomes V minus Vc is equal to Rc into dVc by dt. Then this dVc divided by this term, come here in the denominator, right hand side. So dVc by V minus Vc is equal to 1 upon RC into dt. Clear? Here it is a positive. Okay, it is not a negative. So when you take integration of this term, then you get this equation. Log V minus Vc is equal to minus T upon Rc plus K. Clear? And K is the constant of integration. So how to find out this K? So by using the initial condition, you can find out the value of K. So at initial condition, T is equal to 0. As you know that capacitor is fully discharged, or we can say there is no charge, so there is no voltage across the capacitor. It means Vc is equal to 0. So put T is equal to 0 and Vc is equal to 0 in the equation number 2. So this equation is becomes log E V minus 0 is equal to, here T is 0, so this term is 0, plus K. So K is equal to log V. So put this value K is equal to log V in the equation number 2. So your final equation is becomes log V minus Vc is equal to minus T upon Rc plus log V. As you can see here. Now this log V come to this left hand side. So log V minus Vc divided by V is equal to minus T upon Rc. Now apply anti-log. V minus Vc is equal to V equal to e raised to minus T upon Rc. So finally you get the equation of voltage across the capacitor is equal to V into 1 minus e raised to minus T upon Rc. Here V is the supply voltage, T is the time, R and C is the resistance and capacitor connected in the circuit. And this Rc is called as a charging time constant or lambda. Here. So as you can see here, if you draw the waveform, if you draw the graph of voltage versus time, as per this equation, so you get this graph. You can see the y-axis voltage across the capacitor Vc, and x-axis there is a time. So as the time passes, you can see that voltage across the capacitor, that is exponentially increases. As you see the mathematical expression also, that as the time passes, the voltage is exponentially increases. Clear? And this lambda is the time at which the voltage across the capacitor is linearly increases, and after that it is exponentially increases. Clear? So this is a graph of voltage across capacitor versus time. Clear? Same way you can also draw the graph of current versus time. So during the charging, as we initially discussed that initially maximum current is flowing, and as the time passes, current is exponentially decreases. So let's see here mathematically also. So as we know that the charge on the capacitor, suppose at time t is q, and finally charge on the capacitor is q, capital Q. So small v, that represents the voltage across the capacitor. So at any time t, voltage across the capacitor is small q divided by C. And finally the voltage across capacitor is same as the supply. So it is V is equal to final charge divided by capacitor. So if you put this value of V is equal to Q by C in the equation of voltage, this equation Vc is equal to V into 1 minus e raised to minus Tc. So V is the voltage across, Vc is the voltage across capacitor. Here I take it is a V. V is equal to small q divided by C. So if you replace here by Q by C, same way capital V replaced by capital Q by C. So equation becomes small q is equal to capital K into 1 minus e raised to minus T upon Rc. So from this expression, we can derive the equation of current flowing during the charging of the capacitor. So as you can see here, the voltage initially applied to this circuit. So potential difference across this circuit is what? Supply voltage minus capacitor voltage. V is the supply voltage, small v is the voltage across capacitor, and that is equal to voltage drop across the resistance. Clear? But initially, as we know that voltage across the capacitor is 0, it means this small v is 0. Clear? But as per this equation, V minus V, and this IR, that is replaced by V into e raised to minus T upon Rc, because as you see here in this equation, Vc is equal to V into V e raised to minus T upon Rc. So from this equation, V minus V is become what? V into e raised to minus T upon Rc. Clear? So that's why this term V minus V, that is, we can write is equal to V into e raised to minus t upon RC. And equalize this both the equation. So it becomes IR is equal to V into e raised to minus t upon RC. So if we make the equation of current I, so that gives V by R e raised to minus t upon RC. And V by R is what? Current. And that is the maximum current which is flowing during the charging of this capacitor at t is equal to 0. So that's why we can say that it is I subscript M, because it is a maximum current. So equation of current flowing into the circuit during charging of the capacitor is I is equal to Im into e raised to minus t upon RC. So as you can see the graph of current versus time, as the time passes, so that initially t is equal to 0, current is maximum, but as the time passes, the current is exponentially decreases and finally becomes near to the 0. Clear? It not become exactly 0, but it is near to the 0. Clear? So this is the graph of voltage versus time during the charging, and this is the graph of current versus time during the charging of this capacitor. And this is a mathematical expression of voltage and current during the charging process. I hope you understand this charging process, all of you. Clear up to this point? So that I move for the next discharging of the capacitor. All of you clear up to this? Yes or no? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's start the discharging of the capacitor. So now here, during this discharging process, here we assume that your capacitor is fully charged up to the supply voltage, because we first charge the capacitor, so voltage across the capacitor becomes same as the supply voltage. Clear? So here now I put the switch to the position B. Here you can see that initially during the charging my switch is at the position A. So voltage, resistance and capacitor come into series. Clear? Now my capacitor is fully charged. Now I put my switch into the position B. So what will happen? This supply is removed from the circuit, but now your capacitor is act as a supply with upper plate positive, lower plate negative. So because of that, capacitor charge up to the supply voltage. Now capacitor is discharged through this resistor. Clear? So what will happen? The current flowing from this circuit is decreases, because initially voltage is maximum, so maximum current is flowing. But as the time passes, the current flowing through this RC circuit, that is decreasing. Clear? And voltage across the capacitor, that is also decreasing, because capacitor is now discharges, so voltage across the capacitor also decreasing. Clear? So the same way we have derived the equation of voltage across the capacitor and current flowing through this discharging process.
Sir?
Now, yes?
Sir, could you go back to the last slide?
Yes, yes. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So now during the discharging process, I put my switch in the position B. Okay. Assume your capacitor is fully charged, same as the supply. So now your supply is removed because I put the switch in position B. Now initially voltage across the capacitor is maximum. So maximum current is flowing through this circuit. This magnitude is same, V by R. But as the time passes and capacitor is discharged, the current is decreasing and voltage across the capacitor, that is also decreasing. Clear? Now let's derive the equation of voltage across the capacitor and current flowing into the circuit during the discharging process. So let's assume at any time t, voltage across the capacitor is Vc, I is the discharging current and Q is the charge on the capacitor. So we can write Q is equal to C into Vc. C is the capacitance and Vc is the voltage across the capacitor. So let's derive here. Same way apply the KVL. So here we know that there is no supply voltage. So you can see that left hand side we have 0 is equal to Vc. Vc is the voltage across the capacitor plus voltage drop across IR. So that equation I write from this circuit when my switch in position number B, when only R and C in the circuit. Clear? So supply is 0 is equal to voltage across capacitor plus voltage drop across this resistance. So 0 is equal to Vc plus IR. Now again I replace this I by C into dVC by dt. Clear? Now rearrange this equation like this way: dVC by Vc is equal to minus dt by Rc. This expression I get from this equation. Clear? Previous equation. Now if you take integration of this equation, dVC by Vc is equal to minus dt by Rc. So now you get this expression: log Vc is equal to minus T upon Rc plus K1. Now K1 is the constant of integration. Again, it is determined by the initial condition. So as you know that initial condition at T is equal to 0, voltage across the capacitor is what? Same as the supply voltage, means V. So now replace T is equal to 0 and Vc is equal to V in the equation number V. So the equation number 1 becomes log V, because Vc is replaced by V, is equal to, now T is replaced by 0, so this first term becomes 0, is equal to K1. So now K1 becomes log V. Now replace this value of K1 in the equation number 1. So equation becomes log Vc is equal to minus T upon Rc plus log V. So rearrange these terms. This log V come to this left hand side. So this becomes log Vc divided by V is equal to minus T upon Rc. Then take anti-log Vc by V. So e raised to minus T upon Rc. So finally you get the voltage across the capacitor Vc is equal to V into e raised to minus T upon Rc. And Rc is what? Time constant. So you can see that it is replaced by lambda. So it is Vc is equal to V into e raised to minus T upon lambda. So if you see the graph of voltage versus time, so initially as you know that voltage across the capacitor is what? Maximum, same as the supply. You can see the x-axis, sorry, y-axis, voltage at T is equal to 0 is maximum. But as the time passes, you can see that voltage across the capacitor is gradually decreases. Not gradually, but exponentially decreases. This mathematical expression also proves that it will gradually decrease. Clear? So this is a discharging of the capacitor, graph of voltage across the capacitor during the discharging process. Same way, derive the value of current during this discharging process. So again, KVL 0 is equal to Vc plus IR. So IR is equal to what? Minus Vc. And Vc we already derived in the previous slide, that is V into e raised to minus T upon lambda. So finally your current is become minus V divided by R e raised to minus T upon lambda. And V by R, we know that that is a maximum current which you get at the initial time. So it is I is equal to minus Im e raised to minus T upon lambda. So now if you see the graph of current versus time, you can see that here I draw this graph in the fourth quadrant, because here during the discharging process you get the negative current. Here you can see mathematically also you get I is equal to minus Im e raised to minus T upon lambda. So negative current indicates that the current flowing during the charging, suppose it is clockwise, then during the discharging process current is flowing in a anti-clockwise fashion. Here. So that's why here I drew this graph of current versus time in the fourth quadrant. So you can see here T is equal to 0, your current is negative maximum and the value is minus Im. As you can also derive from this equation also, if you put T is equal to 0 in this expression, so that becomes e raised to 0. So e raised to 0 is 1, so you get I is equal to minus Im. But as time is increasing, as time passes, the value of current is decreases near to the 0 value. And at the end, you can say that your capacitor is completely discharged. So what is the observation from this charging and discharging process? During the charging, the voltage across capacitor is exponentially increases. As you see this graph, exponentially increases, but current is exponentially decreases. Clear? And during the discharging of the capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor is exponentially decreases, and current flowing through the circuit, that is also exponentially decreases. But in the fourth quadrant, the value of current is negative, means that is flowing exactly opposite into the direction when current is flowing as compared to the current flowing into the during the charging process of the capacitor. So I hope you understand this theory. Now let's move for the practical. So here, this is experiment number 4 to study and perform the charging and discharging of the capacitor. Hello, you can see this word file. બધાને દેખાય છે?
No, sir.
No,
Okay,
sir.
one minute.
No, sir.
Now you can see this word file. Study and perform the charging and discharging of the capacitor.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So same theory here I also explained what I have explained in the presentation. You get voltage VC during the charging is equal to V into 1 minus e raised to t upon RC. Then you get the maximum current Im is equal to V by R. Same way discharging of the capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor during discharging, charging current I is equal to minus Im e raised to minus t upon RC. So I am not explaining this thing here. Now you can see this is the circuit. Let's see this presentation so you can see it easily. Okay, now you can see this circuit diagram of charging and discharging of the capacitor in which we perform this experiment. So here we have supply voltage 5 volt as well as 12 volt. Whatever supply you can give, you can give 12 volt also and you can give 5 volt. If you press this switch in the upper direction, then this supply gives the 5 volt. If you move in downward direction, then this kit gives the 12 volt supply. Here you can see that here we have 10k resistance as well as 15k ohm resistance. Any resistance you can connect in series with this supply. So here in this experiment, we connect this 10 kilo ohm resistance, this R1, into series with the supply. And here at this right hand side, you can see that we have two capacitors. One is 1000 microfarad and another is 2200 microfarad. So you can take any capacitor for this charging and discharging. Here in this experiment, I have taken this C1 1000 microfarad capacitance. So here in this circuit, I provide the 5 volt supply in series. Here you can see that there is a dotted line. It means there is no internal connection, except all these are the internal connection is given inside of this circuit. So here to connect this 10K, I require the one probe which connect this terminal A with this yellow probe, so that my supply is connected in series with this 10K. Clear? I will show you during the experiment. So first understand this kit. So I connect this 10K ohm series with this 5 volt supply in series. Here you can see that there is a connection internal is given, and here this two dotted line is given. It means you can connect this C2 capacitor as well as you can connect C1. You can connect any one. So here I connect C1. For that I connect the probe between these two. So after that this C1 connect with the supply. So by this way my circuit become closed. I again repeat, supply 10K ohm resistance, C1 capacitance of 1000 microfarad and supply. Clear? So this is a closed path during the charging of the capacitor. But you can see that here in the parallel, here I have one switch that controls the charge and discharge of the capacitor. So when I put this switch in the upper direction, at that time this switch is in open position so that the supply is given to this RNC. Clear? When I require discharging of the capacitor, I move this switch into the downward direction. It means that this switch become closed. This switch is become closed. So it means that at that time this switch becomes open. So at this time this supply is removed from the circuit and only resistance and capacitor come into the circuit. Clear? So when I put this switch, discharge position means downward position, this switch becomes open, this switch becomes closed. So only this resistance R1 and this capacitor C1 come into the circuit. So during the charging process, I have charged the capacitor. So my capacitor upper plate positive, lower plate is negative polarity. Here. So initially during the charging process, current direction is what? Supply, resistance R1, capacitor and again supply. Clear? But during the discharging process, when I remove this supply from the circuit, The capacitor upper plate is positively charged and lower plate is negatively charged. So current is flowing from this positive plate of the capacitor C1 to resistance R1, then this path, because this is a closed path by on this switch, and then negative terminal of this capacitor C1. So you can see that during the discharging process, current is flowing exactly opposite to the current flowing during the charging process. So that's why you can say that during discharge process, current flowing into the circuit is negative. Clear? Understand all of you this introduction of this kit? And again, here you can see that voltage is given. Voltmeter is given. So during this charging process, I continuously measuring the voltage across the capacitor by connecting this voltmeter across this capacitor, as well as I connect the ammeter in series with this capacitor, so I can know that what is the value of charging current and discharging current during this practical. Clear? So I hope you understand this introduction of this kit. So let's start the procedure of this practical which you follow during this practical. So here in this experiment, all the procedure is given how to perform it. So first step is connect the circuit. As I already told you that during the charging, put this charge switch in upper direction so that this switch is connected and this switch becomes open. So supply is connected to this resistance and capacitor in series, and keep the charge discharge switch in the charging position. It means that in the upper direction, and give the 5 volt DC supply, and at the same time start the stopwatch, because here we required stopwatch to calculate the time in which time what is the voltage across the capacitor. So that we have taken in the reading. So you can see that the observation table, during the charging process of the capacitor, we measured the 3 parameters. One is time, second is voltage across capacitor, and third is current flowing into the circuit. So starting from t is equal to 0, as we know that initially your capacitor is completely discharged, it means there is no charge across the capacitor, it means Vc is equal to 0. At this time we measure the current I through the ammeter and this voltage across the capacitor Vc by using the voltmeter. Clear? So at every 5 seconds we measure these two reading, voltage across capacitor and current flowing into the circuit during the charging of the capacitor. Same process we can do during the discharging of the capacitor. So initially during the discharging process we assume that voltage across the capacitor is fully charged. Clear? So Vc is equal to near to the supply voltage. So at same way, at every 5 seconds we measure these two parameters, voltage across the capacitor and current flowing into the circuit during the discharge process. So first step, we do the charging of this capacitor. So put the switch in the charge position, provide the 5 volt supply, and start the stopwatch, and at every 5 seconds take the reading of voltage and current from the voltmeter and ammeter. Clear? And note down in this observation table. Clear? Now after taking all the readings and once the capacitor is fully charged, same as the supply voltage, we can say that capacitor is fully charged. After that, you can see that step number 6. Now take the reading for the discharging of the capacitor. Now before taking the reading for the discharging of the capacitor, change the switch into the discharging position. It means that this switch put in the downward direction so that the supply voltage is removed from the circuit and only resistance and capacitor remain in the circuit diagram. And same way, at every 5 seconds take the reading of voltage and current from the voltmeter and ammeter until your capacitor is completely discharged. So once you get the voltage across the capacitor near to 0, you can stop taking the reading, and after that you can plot the graph of voltage versus time as well as current versus time graph for during the charging process as well as during the discharging process from this table. Clear? So let's start this video. I have already recorded the video of this experiment. So let's watch this video on this practical. Are you able to see this video, all of you? तो देखा ये?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we first do the charging and then after discharging. All of you see this video carefully.
So see, here we have these connections. Again, I will explain this. See, here I connect to a 5 volt. Okay, you also go to the 12 volt also. This knob already in a discharging position. I take this 1K, sorry, 10K resistance, and then see, I use this knob and connect into a ammeter point, and ammeter, this black wire is coming to a 1000 microfarad capacitor. Okay, as per our circuitry. Okay, so this 2 wire, it is for connecting the ammeter in a series. Okay, and lastly, okay, we use this inbuilt voltmeter, okay, which is connected across this. Okay, one of this blue wire it on the one end of this capacitor and this red wire on the second end. Okay, so we make a connection like this. Now you require to what? You require to use your stopwatch. Okay, okay, your start your you can say the switch of a kit. Okay, and simultaneously required to what? Start this stopwatch. Okay, and also you can start or connect into a charging mode. Okay, so like this. Okay, and see the reading. Your voltage is increased. Okay, you require to take just like on a 5 second or on a 10 second. Okay, you require to continuously take this reading. Okay, and see here we take a 5 volt supply. That's why your voltage across the capacitor is increased up to the 5 volt. Okay, and current see it is continuously decreasing and goes to the 0.
All of you see here the ammeter. That ammeter is set into the milliampere. Okay, so this reading write down in the milliampere. Okay, when you write down this current and voltage in the table, keeping in mind that this current is milliampere and this voltage in volt. Okay.
Okay, but up to where you require to go? You require to go like a 4.9 something around. Okay, and above 4.9 you require to simply stop to take the next reading. Okay, then what you require to prepare? Okay, for the second part. Okay, suppose see here the current is go up to a 4.44 something. Okay,
Here I done mistake here that it is not a current, it is a voltage. Okay. See here again, I want to say that it is a voltage 4.40, but in this video I have said it is a current. Okay. Actually it is a voltage. I want to say that it is a voltage reached up to the 4.40. Okay, listen again.
see here the current is go up to a 4.44 something. Okay,
It is a voltage.
so it is you require to measure this 5 volt. See here it is a 5 volt, but if you can measure this before starting of this practical, it might be varying. Okay, just like it is only give a 4 point you can say 7 or 4.8. Okay, so in practical aspect you require to take that value. Okay, just like here it is a 12. Okay, but here actually we have a 4.7 or 4.8 something. Okay, so according to that we get the maximum reading over here. It is not like a 5 volt here, it is there, but it is not up reach up to a 5. Okay, why? Because internally this value might be changed. Okay, so you require to first see this. Okay, you require to connect.
So here at the voltage across the capacitor, you not get exactly 5 volt because your supply voltage also maybe not exactly 5 volt. And because of the measurement error of this voltmeter, they cannot show the exact reading. Okay, so here in this experiment, here we provide the supply voltage is 5 volt, but your capacitor is fully charged up to the voltage 4.44. Clear? That is because of the meter reading error, or that is because of the error in the supply voltage. Okay, so here your capacitor is fully charged up to the 4.44, same as the supply voltage. Clear?
Across here a voltmeter and see. Okay, before connecting all these you can say connections, connect voltmeter over here, no one of I on the supply and see what is the exact battery value.
So if you measure the voltage across this supply, you not get exactly 5 volt. Clear? That's why the voltage across the capacitor also not reach up to the 5 volt. Clear? That I want to say that.
Okay, so I think it is a 4.6 or 4.7. That's why it is go up to 4.4. And see, the current is now become like a 0.044 milli something.
So current is 0.044 milliampere. So that is almost zero, near to the zero. So as already explained in the theory that current reached to the nearer to the zero, not exactly zero. Clear? So initially, if you see the reading, if you see when I start the practical, at that time current is maximum. If I start again this
You
video,
can see as per our circuitry is for connecting the we connected it on the one switch of okay, and also you can start or connect into a charging mode. Okay, so like this.
so you can see that initially my current is 0.166 milliampere. Clear? But once your capacitor is fully charged, it
And
becomes
see,
near to the zero.
okay, why connect voltmeter over here, no one of I on the supply current is okay. So this is the first part is over. This part charging portion is over. Okay, next we require to what do we require to come to this you can say a right part, discharging. Okay, so in a
All of you clear this charging part? Is there any doubt how this charging happens? How voltage is increases and current is decreases? Is there any problem in this practical for charging point of view? All of you clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's see the discharging process of the capacitor.
discharging, what we require to do? Okay, again we require to reset my timer. Okay, and simultaneously start my timer and come to the discharging means what we simply neglect it. Okay, we neglect this you can say supply part. Okay, and your capacitor is discharged you can say via this 10k, and then it's come back to over here and again to a you can say capacitor, as we see earlier in a circuitry in theory portion. Okay, so you simply start this and come to the discharge portion and see this this your you can say so current is a minus, as we discussed it is in anti-clockwise, and your supply is also decreased VC voltage across capacitor. Okay, so you require to go up to 0.1 or 0.2 volt something. Okay, then you can stop the taking reading. Okay, so now you are ready with what you can say the observation table, and using this observation table you require to make the 4 graph V and I versus T for the charging and V and I versus T for the discharging, total 4 graph. Okay, and ultimately both are tends to be 0. Okay,
So all of you understand this discharging process? As the discharging process start, initially voltage across the capacitor is 4.4 and current is also maximum, but it is a negative maximum. And as the move on the switch on the discharge position, voltage across capacitor is decreases exponentially, and current flowing through this current flowing into the circuit also decreases exponentially in the reverse direction, anti-clockwise direction. And finally, the voltage and current both becomes near to the zero value. So this is the discharge process of the capacitor. All of you understand? All of you understand this? Charging and discharging? Is there any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So watch this video again and again and write down the reading in the table. I will share you this table. I will share this Word file to you. So you can see here in this table, बताना देखा है table, observation table.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No,
so
sir.
नहीं देखा तू?
देखा है
Okay. बताना देखा
हमें
है?
देखा है सर
Okay. Now you can see the charging of the capacitor. We measured 3 parameter. One is time. So here already I have written time. Each 5 second interval, I take the reading of voltage across the capacitor and current flowing into the circuit. So 0 time, write down the voltage across the capacitor. So as we know that during the charging, voltage across the capacitor initially is 0. So that is 0. And measure the current from the ammeter. So write the reading here at t is equal to 0. Same way at 5 seconds, write down the voltage across the capacitor. So that you can see in the video. Measure the voltage in the voltmeter. Write down here. Same way, measure the current at 5 seconds. Write down here. Same way for 10 second, 15 second, 20 second, up to this 50 second. Clear? Same way for the discharging at t is equal to 0. As you know, the voltage across capacitor is 4.44. Clear? It means that whatever the final reading during the charging process of the capacitor, that becomes the initial reading for the voltage across the capacitor. Clear? So voltage across the capacitor at t is equal to 0 in the discharge is same as the voltage across the capacitor during the charging process at the last time. Clear? Last reading of the charging. Same way, whatever the value of current at the last reading during the charging, that becomes the initial reading for the discharging of the capacitor. Then after, what happened? Voltage is decreases as time passes, 5 second, 10 second, 15 second, up to 50 second, and finally it becomes near to the 0. Same way, the current is also exponentially decreases and becomes 0. And after that, you draw the graph of voltage versus time, current versus time during the charging of the capacitor. Same way, graph of voltage across capacitor versus time, current versus time during the discharging of the capacitor. So that graph is same as graph which we have seen in the presentation. We are charging and discharging. The same type of graph you can get in this experiment. Clear? And finally, you write down the conclusion. Clear? So first of all, you write down this observation table from this video. Then after, draw the graph in any one blank page. Attach that graph in this Word file. And after making the PDF of this Word file, share me in the experiment number 4. I will generate the assignment of experiment number 4. So in that part, you have attached this Word file or Excel file, Word file or PDF file of this experiment. So in this experiment, you first write down conclusion, draw the 4 graph and conclusion. And then after, submit this PDF file to me. All of you clear? So here I stop this experiment number 4. If you have any doubt, you can ask the question.
Sir, where are you sharing the video, sir?
Yes, I will share this video now. Already I have recorded this video also. Clear? I have already recorded this video. So you get this video instantly. As well as also I will provide this presentation as well as the Word file of this experiment and this video also separately. Clear? All of you? I will provide this recorded video in my YouTube channel, as well as separately I provide this recorded video in the YouTube channel also. Clear? So you can see this video from the YouTube channel.
Sir, I have made a separate notebook for writing all the 3 experiments. So in the continuation of that, we have to write the 4th one if we are writing in notebook.
Yes, you can write. You can write in the notebook also. Okay. But you have to submit with this experiment in the Word file as a soft copy. So I can say,
Okay,
so I know that who have submitted this assignment, who have submitted this experiment number 4. So based on that, I can give the marks in the external Viva. Okay. You can make the notes as per your convenience, but you must submit this experiment in the Microsoft team also. Clear? Is there any doubt? Anyone?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, sir.
So here I stop this lecture. Thank you for watching this.